Anupreet, welcome. Hey, so
Hello.
this is brilliant. So we're seeing lots of people come in to the webinar. We've got 20, it's counting rapidly, 28, 30, 38. Um, so just looking down some names, Andrew Clark, Andrew Murdoch, welcome. Barry, it's just having a look to see who's joining us today. Guys, thank you so much for joining. We will be starting momentarily. It's just gone 12. So we'll give people, until 1 minute past. Again, at Prodactive, we like to be productive with your time. So we will get started very, very shortly. And just scanning down there, so Guy Price, great to see you, Guy. It's been a while. And who else do I recognize from here? But no, really fantastic. Thank you so much for attending. We truly hope to make this a really valuable session for you, and great to see a few people from South Africa joining as well. Lauren, welcome. Glad to see you got in as well on that side. So let's see the time. It is 12:01. Well, we're 85 attendees, 86 and counting, so people are joining in. We shall get started with no further ado. So I trust you can see the screen for those attending. And welcome to this latest in our webinar series from Prodactive, supported by Smartsheet. And this is all about digitalizing the PMO. Now, I'm very proud and very delighted to be welcomed today by Anupreet Malhotra from Acuity Knowledge Partners. Welcome, Anupreet. We'll do a full introduction in a moment, but just checking you're all good today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rick, for this introduction, and hello to everyone. Hope you have something to take away from this webinar. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Anupreet. Okay, so what are we covering today? Hopefully this is the reasons why you signed up to attending the webinar. So really the piece here is we're going to go through with Anupreet, who is one of our clients at Prodactive, and really going to go through what was the trigger that drove them to change from how they were operating previously and then move to the digital PMO for IT. Why they selected Smartsheet, now we'll understand. I think a lot of people here have already selected Smartsheet yourselves, but again, is why did they choose this for particularly what they were doing? And we'll recognize that people will be on their journey of Smartsheet. Some will be very advanced, and we'll see that more in a moment. What were the challenges faced, and what impact has this had on Acuity overall? And then what's next for the digital PMO? Now, all attendees, if you attended, so there's 108 of you thus far, will be able to download afterwards a free template. So we'll come on to that piece as well. So before we do get started though, we always do like to understand a bit, and you can either use a QR code or I think one of my very helpful followers, so Fiona will share a little link in the chat for you to fill this out. So hopefully a link is coming up for you to be able to fill out this quick question. It's a Smartsheet form, and this is anonymous input to you, but we're keen to understand who we've got on the call today, what sector you're in, role, what's your experience in project management, and what are you using currently as a tool if you're not using Smartsheet on that side. So just checking, hopefully the link has been shared in the chat. So whilst you're filling that out, or you can use the QR code again using the Smartsheet form. So who is Prodactive? If you haven't come across us before, greetings. So my name is Rich Coles, Managing Director of Prodactive. I've got an extensive background in project program portfolio management from industry. And that's one of the reasons why we work so well with Anupreet and Acuity Knowledge Partners, because at Prodactive, we really understand project and program management on this bit. We work with companies. Here's just a range of some of the clients we've worked with, which includes Acuity. And we're delighted to work with some amazing organizations around the world. What's the key thing for us is it's the industry experience that we bring. So not only experts in Smartsheet, but we're experts in a lot of sectors of industry. And so that's why we help to unlock potential, transform execution in you guys working with people around the world. So I will find out how many people, but I'm assuming most of you do know what Smartsheet is. So there's a little video. If you haven't, you can find it on our YouTube channel. Again, delighted that we're approaching 3,000 subscribers on the channel already. So much information you can get from that channel as well in terms of how to do things with Smartsheet, and we're constantly adding new content regularly to that side. So that's kind of a bit of a setup. No further ado, let's dive into the poll results. So hopefully you've had a time to fill that out. Let me just go across to my screen here, refresh the dashboard. no surprise, it is a Smartsheet dashboard. And let's just have a quick look of the 127 attendees. Guessing not everyone has a chance to, but let's just see in terms of, okay, only 2% have never heard of it. So that's a pretty good sign. We don't need to go and tell you what Smartsheet is. And we've got 9% of power users, and a lot of you use it every day, which is fantastic. Great to see. What's the range of people in terms of some basic training in project management, formal, and those who live and breathe it. I love it on that side. And Anupreet, I think you live and breathe it as well. And Smartsheet, well, no surprise, given most of you use it, that's your main tool, but obviously a few of you still using Excel and other platforms and don't have one. Okay, so let's see how we can help the 7% of you on that side as well. So poll results are in. Anupreet, time to kind of bring you, because you're who people come to see, not me. So Anupreet, where are we speaking to you today? You're not in London anymore, by that I know for sure.
Absolutely. So today I'm speaking from my office in Gurgaon, India, and was really looking forward to this opportunity. And yes, the pictures that you see are from our London Engage event that's recently happened. And really delighted to not just talk about me, but also the team who has worked with us, introducing Shrey Jain also virtually, who has been part of the overall journey. Yeah.
Brilliant. So Anupreet, absolutely. So in Gurgaon, so by Delhi, and absolutely fantastic that you've joined us all the way from there. And we'll learn about Acuity Knowledge Partners who are based in UK but global offices. So tell us a little about your background in project management, Anupreet.
Okay. In a nutshell, with an overall of 15 years of experience, I have spent 11 to 12 totally into project management. I started as a PMO to a program manager. Today, I'm actually heading the project management office. So I think the journey has been great in managing transformational, automational, migrational, as well as diversified projects where we have enabled people. We have really supported them in bringing a lot of generative AI also in the recent times. So I think the journey has been really fantastic with the industry experience of FMCG and consulting. Yeah, a lot on the plate.
Brilliant. And has your experience been mainly in IT, in the technology side, or have you done other types of project management over the years as well?
So I think it's all diversified, not just IT, but we have touched upon HR, finance, and right now we are also getting into sales and marketing domain. So yes, project management is always needed everywhere.
Absolutely. And I can see from your LinkedIn profile, and hopefully people will be able to reach out. Anupreet, are you happy for people to reach out to you via LinkedIn after this?
Absolutely. Would love to guide them.
There you go. When you see Anupreet Malhotra, I don't think there's many of them, and it says Prince 2 after her name, you'll know you found the right person on that one, Anupreet. So Anupreet, and again, your IT program director at Acuity, what does that mean? What's your role on that?
So I handle a lot of transformational, like I mentioned, a lot of projects day in, day out, working across different stakeholders. And the whole objective is to do on-time delivery of these tasks because they make a big impact in the enterprise.
And within your role, so in terms of that, so how many in your team? You've got 10, 20, or is it a very small PMO?
Wow, it's a small PMO, but it's a powerful PMO. We are a team of 3 people, and I think we have done fantastic with Smartsheet on board, and that is the reason I said now we have become a powerhouse. And Shrey is actually my champion because you know what, alone we do very little, but with teams we can do great. So I think the kudos to my team to deliver great projects.
Absolutely, and for me, it's a delight working with Shrey throughout. And Shrey, if you're listening in, hey, thank you so much as well as that, and Anis. On that bit, absolutely. We always talk about PMO, small but mighty. It's about, and I think goes back to one of the drivers of it. Now, and Anupreet, you recently got promoted, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yes, absolutely. So really delighted about it.
Well, and actually, there's a bit of a theme here because the last webinar we did with fantastic friends at our Accelerate, they'd also been promoted, and I think there's a bit of a theme here that we've seen. And again, we talk about unlocking potential. In individuals. This is what we love, just hearing these stories of people who've gone on to achieve such great things enabled by the power of Smartsheet. So just tell us, then wanting to do this webinar, very brave of you to kind of want to lean in and on this side. Why put yourself forwards and do something like this?
So I think, we have created a fantastic story. And I think webinars is a great platform to let the world know. They can learn from us. They can actually make us learn from them also from with the people I'm going to connect after this webinar. So it's a story that I really wanted people to know, the journey we have taken. And the best part is the lessons learned that they can take away for especially who are getting into this journey so that they don't face those challenges that we will definitely talk about.
Anupreet, I think it is. It's always that bit of giving and paying it forwards on that side. And I know from the time we spent together, very much you think about how you can help others on that side. So, well, let's get into Acuity Knowledge Partners. Who are they? What do they do? Just tell us a little bit about this bit. Obviously, people want to know more about the Smartsheet side, but in terms of this is obviously this is the context.
Okay, so Acuity Partners is a beautifully grown organization which is just 4 years old. We actually became independent from the Moody's Corporation in 2020, and since then we have made an amazing mark in a very diversified portfolio. Although when you look at the screen, you look into the bespoke research, analytics, these are great jargons. In a nutshell, we do a lot of investment banking support, credit scoring, we do equity and research, advising a lot on the financial modeling, technology solutions, and many more. So if a lot of people are familiar with the hedge funds, this is where, we really master a lot.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So now let's start going into the journey, because whilst it says on the screen here 2003, I think as you said that Acuity itself was actually then became part as an independent organization in 2020. So so yeah, and something else happened. I guess COVID was a pretty major thing at the time. And if we just go back to that, sorry, on this slide, as we can see, you guys operate around the world. And I guess one thing we always talk about is connected execution. And how do you help do that? And COVID clearly meant we've had to go virtual on that side. So tell us a little about the journey so far on that piece. And would love to know, what was the trigger for change? How was it? You started there in 2020. What was the situation when you started, and what was the driver for change?
Absolutely. So 2020 was a year of COVID-19, and it really changed the whole ways of working. And this is where all the organizations, the matured as well as the new organizations, had to figure out a way to adapt quickly. With these transitions, and especially in my organization, when we diversified, there was a need to have more control, more visibility, and governance around the transition agreements that we were doing. So that was the trigger point, and this is where they needed a project manager, and this is where I came into picture. From there, I spent a lot of time in understanding how the ways of working, and this was all virtually, and that is the reason everybody will understand why we have named everything as DPMO. There's a storyline behind it, and with that, we started understanding, building our business case. What is the problem statement? How we want to scale it up, not in the current times, but also how this framework has to go beyond the different views also, not just IT, the way we started with IT. And we created this business case, we evaluated a lot of products which were available in the market, did the fit gap assessment, created an evaluation criteria where we could find the right fit. And definitely out of the 11 products we shortlisted, there were 2 out of which we finalized Smartsheet. And
And just going back in to that bit. So I didn't want to cut you in mid flow, but it is more actually at the start. I mean, I think this was the piece that everything was done manually.
Yes.
And also the piece that was fascinating here is you were a team of 3. And the whole piece was, and this goes back to often the expectation, were you managing the projects? Expectation of 3 of you to manage projects across that organization as well?
So yes, specifically for IT, but I was only one. I had my teams added in 2021. I was the only one running the whole show and juggling between Excels, PPTs, and Words, and it was just taking a toll and on the way we were delivering things. So just to get rid of the disposal waste digital data, it was important to have a robust system and a tool and platform in place. And that's why, in 2022, we landed up having Smartsheet with us.
Brilliant. So what I'll do is, so I mean, obviously, as people can see from here, there was a journey. Actually, I think if we just go forwards one slide here, and what I've learned very much from you, Anupreet, is you're very methodical in your approach. And I remember when I received, I was introduced by the Smartsheet team to you guys, and because of our backgrounds in project program management at Prodactive, but seeing the very methodical approach, saying this is the process we want, and we often talk about this as people, process, technology, and you were very clear for the organization what processes you needed, and therefore that helped you evaluate the tool. So just talk us through from a process point of view, for anyone who's considering putting their business case forwards, for those who are not yet using Smartsheet as their platform, how did you approach the business case to get the buy-in from people to actually say, we need to do this evaluation, we're going to invest?
Absolutely. It was very clear in my mind, basis my first 6 months managing multiple stakeholders, what are the ways of working, and the way we were approaching transitions. I started putting my plan in place, my framework, what kind of projects I'm getting, how I need to evaluate it, what's going to be my evaluation criteria, what is going to be the resource mapping, and definitely the team structure, which I presented to my management before even I started evaluating the tools in the market. So I wanted their buy-in so that there are no changes. And I'm also very clear with the business case. This business case, if you look at, if people are looking at the screen, this is where I started, segregating the criteria for major, minor projects. Anything which is taking a lot of time, more than 30 days is a major project. What kind of category, whether it is automation, transformation, all those criteria were built, put in a system, put in in my doc. It was all well documented. And on what basis we are considering any initiative coming my way, and specifically from an IT standpoint, that will be considered as a project. Not everything turns out to be a project. So this was the clarity that I proposed to my management, because, without leaders, without a buy-in, we are nothing. They will show us the way, they will pave the way, we just have to execute our ideas. So that's where I think this structure really helped me. They really liked it, the precision of our ideology. And this is where, it became very easy for us to reach out to stakeholders in the market also.
And Anupreet, it's what's the problem you're solving for, and what's the desired future state? And I think what's fantastic here, and this is why we'll come on to kind of the implementation process in a moment, but you were very clear what you wanted. We received the document and said, can Smartsheet do that? Absolutely. So you said you had that piece, then you evaluated two tools. We know that Smartsheet came out on top. We don't need to mention they say what the other tool was. But again, methodically, any advice for anyone in terms of doing that evaluation process? How did you involve your stakeholders in the process to get them to say, actually, Smartsheet is the right tool to go for?
I think it's important to invest a lot of time in understanding what are the problems, create your business case, present it to your leadership. And by leadership, I mean there is a hierarchy of people, how comfortable, because you have to look into multiple approaches of, reaching out to them. It is not just about the tool, it is also about the adoption in the long run, how beneficial this is going to be. So work with them, closely work with them, make them understand why you are proposing and talking about this business case, and talk about its benefits, get their buy-in, also engage them in all the communications. And you should be very clear with your objective, because at the end of the day, once they give you a go ahead, you will be asked to implement as soon as possible, and it makes everybody's life easy also. I think that made your life pretty easy when you saw the document.
Absolutely. Gosh, I'm laughing because it brings back fantastic memories. Okay, we'll go on to this bit in the implementation journey in a moment, but it was fascinating because it was an 18-month journey. I think it was really from you going through that process of working out how and on that side, but then the actual implementation, that was pretty fast.
Yes, I think 18 months to build the business case, present the business case, get the approvals from my CDO, David Fellows. And he was always there to support and take new ideas. And the moment we had a go ahead, I think in 1 month, 18 days is when we implement. I clearly remember this timeline, and we were very happy the way we had structured and we got going. Yeah.
And thank you. And I think that this is one of the pieces actually, which I often say is there's the go slow to go fast in project management. The time spent in planning enables execution to go at speed. And because you were so clear what you wanted, we were able to then build it really quickly. Is there any advice so clearly 18 months of evaluation and trying to, and you're like going, please, 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 I just want to go ahead and get this piece. Any advice? What would you do differently? Or what advice would you give to someone, in terms of getting it over the line faster?
See, for me, I think with me, I kept a lot of patience. I had a lot of faith that this tool will actually do a lot of justice the way we were growing. And this is very particular to my situation. With other industries, I think, again, I would emphasize that from day one, engage the right stakeholders. Always get their buy-in. Make them aware that these are the tools, this is your evaluation criteria and how it is fitting. I mean, I had my scorecard in which the rating was given high to Smartsheet, and very clearly. And I took independent scorecards from 5 stakeholders. And that is where I concluded it, because it was not just my view, but from a cross-functional view.
Brilliant. Anupreet, thank you. So let's get into some more meat, therefore, of the Smartsheet and the solution that we implement for you in record-breaking time on that side. So just talk through the process. And in fact, I can actually just see a bit of a question as well in terms of, so I can see Andrew's asked a question, how do you handle small IT demand requests that are not big enough to become a project? We'll answer that in a moment. But Anupreet, when we saw your process diagram here, major and minor, on this bit. So your process flow that we mapped out for you was new projects coming in, there's an intake, evaluation. You chose to go with Control Center. Just before we go in, Control Center, why did you choose, what is Control Center, for those who don't know it in your words, and why did you want Control Center as part of your solution?
See, Control Center, I think, again, is the core part of any project management framework that we are building. This is where, it takes us to the fact that we are building a lot of blueprinting there. Our ideas there are built, and especially, how we want to track with respect to the kind of data profiles that we are creating. It's important to, whenever we are getting requests, which we will eventually talk about, how we are managing those requests, how it is getting captured in the system. So all these things, the flexibility of customizing our workflows is where I think everything resides in the heart of the tool, which is Control Center. So this is very much needed.
And Control Center, very much for those who, again, we've got a YouTube video on it, no surprise. But on Control Center, it's the engine, it's the automation engine that means that anytime a project is approved, boom, minutes later, when you click the button, it's created using this blueprint, and all that information flows up to the portfolio reporting. That's the most powerful thing. That, as you say, with a team of 3 of you in the PMO, you don't want to be spending your time kind of doing the wiring and all this piece. It's about making sure you're delivering the value. So let's just talk through then the question on this bit is, actually, sorry, as Emma's just literally answered the question as well. Let's just talk through the process. Thank you for the segue there, Evan, on your question, and this will also answer Andrew's question. A new project submission comes in and it goes into your intake sheet. Tell us, Anupreet, what's the process and how do you get people to start using and making project requests?
Very basically, when we talk about the BRD document, my project intake form was actually the base or the start point.
BRD being?
BRD, which is a business requirement document, which we talk from a project management terminology. And this is where we converted actually into a request form. We said, if there's a request for us to manage anything, project task, please refer to this form. We captured all the details as much as possible at the initial stage, and anybody who wants us to run their project can submit here. Then the next step, as per what we designed, is our intake sheet, which I just mentioned.
So what I just pause is, sorry if it's just fallen off the screen here, but expected start date was this piece here. But absolutely, I think the request form, Anupreet, this was brilliant in terms of getting that clarity too. And I think
Yeah.
what we shared before is, and then this comes in, and then you've got alerts, and and the person submitting this also would gets a notification as well. What just tell us, people, because this is one of the things that you really liked about the system.
I really like the way it was well integrated with our Office 365, and we were notified in MS Teams that, a new request has come. We even had a common email ID through which we used to get all these requests. And we had an SLA of 5 days. We still have it, through which we manage these requests, and we take time. We evaluate how much information we have received and how we need to take this up for
Brilliant.
the categorizations.
So then it goes into your intake sheets. Now, for obvious reasons, we're not going to show the intake sheet, but picture that as a sheet with all that information which has come in for the projects going in. So it goes into the intake sheet from that side. So just to answer the question, so Andrew was asking small demand, versus big projects. Is there a way that you manage that, particularly with your bit where you go, it's not really a project? What happens there?
Absolutely, this is very critical, and I think this is one of the best practices which everybody should follow when we are, putting a frame in place. Number one is you should be very clear about your evaluation criteria. Whether something, and I'm just giving an hypothetical example, something which needs a budget of 25,000 K above is a project, and anything less than that is a task or something like that. Or if not from a budget standpoint, anything which needs 30 days or less as a time investment can be a task, and more than that can be a project. And this is the criteria from your respective business you need to build to see what is a project, what is a task.
And Anupreet, the things that are tasks, would you kick off a whole project? Would you still use the control center blueprint in the case of Acuity, or would you do them separately?
I still capture them in my intake sheet under the task category, because as a project manager or anybody, Smartsheet has become my go-to tool. Whatever I'm doing day in, day out, not just that, not even the task, also I capture everything, because that is where we want more governance around the system that we have built.
Brilliant. And for awareness, it all depends on the organization. Just so, Andrew, to answer your question here as well, that depending on the organization, we've got somewhere you've got an intake sheet, and then the tasks can go to a different sheet, for example, so they can be managed separately as rows, as items there. And then the ones which are actually projects, they stay in the intake sheet, or everything stays in one sheet. But this is very common across organizations. It's really saying what's the situation on that on the actual particular item, deciding, most important bit is knowing the demand, and again, using workload, the new workload management piece or resource management. You've got views where you can see, are they in there? Because then you can track, and as you say, Anupreet, you need to know what the demand is and what's the organization working on. So we'll just move forwards onto the evaluation and prioritization piece as well. So let me just move forwards to here. So again, this is a bit of a visual of the evaluation. If you could just talk through, I guess, your process. I've got something else to show people in a moment, but so you've got various criteria. Hopefully you can just about see it on the screen below, of this, the organization uses. Tell us a bit about this, please, Anupreet.
Absolutely. So again, some of my lessons learned before we created this business case is there any kind of projects that are coming under legal and compliance, because they will always have high priority, will always have precedence over anything else. Then whatever all the initiatives that are coming our way, we used to discuss how much it is in alignment with the organization goals, how critical they are. We have those parameters built. There's a scorecard that we build both qualitatively and quantitatively, alignment with the pillars, impact on the stakeholders, the brevity of the current situation, how changes it will build. So again, understanding our current ways of working in the organization is what I had built. It used to give me a scorecard. Higher the scorecard is what I used to take up on priority, and the others are taken as second precedence, because of which we were able to allocate our resources in the right way. We are still doing it.
Thank you. And here's an example. Again, we've got a YouTube video. Sorry to keep harking back to that bit, but again, our aim is to help people see some of what's going on here. So again, what's great here, I love this little feature here, that you can switch off different things and see different scores. So you can be using this in a meeting live on that side. And in this case, again, this is just for demonstration purposes. This isn't Acuity's piece, but for example, we can see here, I've actually embedded the sheet here, and I can change. If you just watch this little bit in terms of the score here, you could be doing this live in a meeting, saying significantly better. You can see the score's gone up, and then operational efficiency, the score has increased, etc. And market expectation, is pioneering, etc. And IP rating is, hard to replicate. The score's gone up to 75% on this side. So if I just were to save that you can be doing this in a meeting live with your management team, and then obviously you see what happens on this piece. And the report, the chart I've seen, this can be sorted by order of precedence. The most important bit of any PMO, as you say, Anupreet, is so we can see now that's gone up significantly on that side. This is the important point. Which ones are we going after? Because with a PMO of 3, you can't do everything. That's very simple, on that point. So let's just go back to the evaluation summary, and I'm just going to go back 2 slides here. So you do the evaluation prioritization, and then projects kicked off. So just to answer Amin's other question on this piece, then the project blueprint, yes, this is the blueprint on projects that are kicked off. They then have these various assets. And I think the key point to flag to people is there's such flexibility that in Acuity, you wanted quite a wide range of items, and we'll look at a couple of those in a moment. You wanted quite a lot of items on that. So project checklist, the integration standards, the RACI, for example. Other organizations might just want a time plan or a RAID log. Anupreet, do you use all these items on every project you create?
Well, again, the idea was to have the best practices in place. So we created all these digital assets, and going for some projects, we started adopting it. For some, it was not required. So whatever the applicability, we used them. The rest we started, which was not applicable, we did not use everything out of it, because there are a lot of places where integrations are not required. That was not needed.
Brilliant. And that makes so much sense. This goes back to project management is about people, process, technology. The technology supports it, but don't be a slave to the process. And I think that's the most important bit, Anupreet, and I love that flexibility that you guys applied, as we go through on this piece as well. So you've got the blueprint, it's chosen. The fantastic thing with Smartsheet is once you said valuation prioritization, the management meeting, are we going to do this project? Yes, boom. The project would then be created using Control Center, using the templates that are required. And then the process, just to finish off this for people, the project is created therefore for each one. That's what Control Center does. You've got the portfolio views, and let's have a look at dashboards in a moment. And then you can archive it when the project is completed, which is clearly a really important point. So let's go forwards onto here. The dashboards. Now, this is kind of what sold Smartsheet to me in the first place as well. I love the dashboards. Tell us, how was this, I guess, a benefit to the organization, and how's it been used?
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to your business case. Business cases, when are prepared, you need to look into what kind of stakeholders these changes will impact. So when we look into the whole pyramid, there are 3 levels: the lower, the middle, and the higher level, which is the C-suite we are talking about. So keeping all that in mind, this is the dashboard which I wanted all my executives, the CEOs and the CDOs that I work very closely with. I wanted to show them, for them, what kind of information was relevant, what exactly they want to do, because they just need that bird's eye view, what we are doing, what is critical, and only the key notes where we need their decisions, where need their attention, is where we wanted to highlight. But overall, how we are governing the whole process is this dashboard all about.
And I think, again, this is the bit, visual performance, visual management is so critical. I know from my time as well, the leaders want to get to, what do you need I've got limited time, what do you need my time for? Are we delivering what we said what we've committed to the business to? Be it, who are the shareholders, stakeholders, the board, the private, equity, whatever firm, are we delivering what we said versus the targets? And then what do we need to do? Clearly, there's a lot more data on their dashboard, which we're not showing for obvious reasons, and I've blanked out a bit of information for Anupreet. But this, again, really important. You've always said, Anupreet, this is so valuable to having the dashboards in here. And again, the piece is they're so flexible. So you also, the team task tracking dashboard. So tell us about this piece as well, please.
Absolutely. I think somebody asked us how, what is considered everything as a project, not project. So yes, there are a lot of ways in which we can track our tasks also individually as well as for the team. So for me, it was not just about projects, but it was also about managing my team in a very structured way to get visibility, to empower them. Because for me, they are, program managers, they are entrepreneurs for me who are managing their projects also. So I wanted to enable them and to have better clarity control, because since I lead it, this is where I manage all my daily tasks with the team. I have a daily call and we capture everything.
And that's brilliant. And if I look at the design of this, whether this was downloaded from one of the template sets from Smartsheet, and that's the fast way to get started as well. And again, this goes back to adoption, Anupreet, that the team embraced it and was able to start creating what they needed to work from them. It wasn't just for us on this side. So I can see there's a question from Viv has just come in terms of how to create dashboards. I think that's a separate topic, Viv, which we wouldn't go to now, but it's all driven from the information of the projects that's coming through on that side. So we won't be able to go into this bit. Maybe one of the team could just, I guess, connect with Viv on that particular question. Now, dashboards. So the blueprint coming forwards on this piece, and in fact, going back to another question that's come through, in terms of the project blueprint, so having separate items, I guess, yes, each one is because they're structured slightly differently. And so the time plan is different to the risks, actions, issues, and decisions log, which is different to the summary status. And we'll look at a couple of these in a moment. So we have different sheets for each individual item because they serve different purposes. So let's look through well, firstly, let's go to the dashboard. And again, Viv, maybe this answers your question a bit as well. The dashboards can be designed how to. Now, Anupreet, you found this very useful for the project teams as well to have the dashboards.
Absolutely. I think what we got and the little bit of customizations that we were able to do using the widgets, it became very easy. This is again for all the project managers to look into and get a real-time weekly status report. Who owns it? Who is the project sponsor? What is the current status? Where we are? Everything was like in a click of a button. It is so easy to use, so highly customizable, and the templates are readily available that you don't have to start from scratch. That's the best part. And the beauty is you can capture everything in this sheet and anybody can access it at any point of time to get real-time data.
I think, again, that's the beauty. We talk about the Ohio principle, only handle it once, in terms of what Smartsheet does. The project, the information goes in and it flows up. So whilst there's no data on this one, but the project time plan or the tasks, all that information is flowing up to the project and also to the portfolio as well. That's the power. That's the beauty of Smartsheet. And again, why I embraced it. And in terms of, so whilst there's no information on this as such, information is captured at the beginning from the project that's put in. Control Center wires it up and just links it up. So this is all kind of preset for you. Let's just go forward into a couple of assets you have on that side. Now, one bit I'm going to show here is the plan on a page. So brilliant that Smartsheet, we've now got the timeline view, which has been released. There's also, again, a YouTube video, sorry, or not, but again, of how we always created a little plan on the page so you can use the report to actually have the key items just to show on there. So please do look out for that bit. And you just decide what information you want on here. Now, within this piece, one bit is the status summary. So this goes back to one of the questions here of, in terms of why different sheets. And so your team, they would get, update the project status using this sheet. Tell us about project status reporting. And you had a PowerPoint slide that people used to have to present previously. Yes? Has this changed how you guys report on projects?
Absolutely. On every week, so in our weekly status report that I used to prepare, everything was in PPTs. I used to collaborate with multiple stakeholders. It was doing a lot of mundane things, which definitely Smartsheet has reduced a lot. Today, my entire status report is on a click of a button. I don't even have to click. I have automated it that every Monday I get it before my Tuesday review call. I don't even have to do anything. It's in the inbox of right stakeholders. And with this summary sheet, week on week, whenever we have weekly connects with the project leads, we update what has been successfully done, where we are with respect to the activities that are built in the timelines, and it gets automatically connected to our status reports. And it's very easy to pull out these reports also.
And again, for people's awareness, this is an example of a sheet here, which can, and again, so you can, so we would have an automation set up on this in terms of the workflows where, again, just showing you on this bit, it's inactive because it's a demonstration, but the project manager status request every week at 9 o'clock, it will send a notification and an email to the person to fill it out. Absolutely fantastic. And you can have other, the other leads on the project. So we've got the section down here, finance, security, marketing. They could be filling out their information. They get an email, as Anupreet says, and they fill it out. So they get a little notification on here and it'll come through. Once that's updated, Red, we're not going so well now, we're late. That information goes straight back into your dashboard overall. And that's one of the fantastic things you say, saving time, enter it once, no PowerPoint slides on that bit. So a couple of other items, which again, these are specific to you. So we've got a RACI, Responsible, Accountable, Consulted, Informed sheet here. And talk us through this a bit, please.
Absolutely. See, again, it takes me back to my business case, which I proposed. It was important that people should understand what's their role, in what stages, what kind of contribution they will be making, how they are accountable. And as per the best practices, I created an exhaustive list. Again, if you look at the screen, it's not applicable is also there. Whether it is applicable to the project, not applicable, we keep tweaking it. But for anyone, as a template, as the blueprint when we were creating, we wanted to put as many fields as much as possible, and then it gives us the flexibility to choose from when we are actually doing transformations and automations.
And I think this is the piece, the message to everyone is the flexibility within Smartsheet is not saying this is the only way to do a RACI. You design it what works for your, in the way that works for your organization. And also we've got this. So this is your project stage checklist. Again, fantastic for people to go through the governance of the stages of the project. So diagnose, design, implement, embed, and grow, close out. And again, this was the checklist, and the project manager can put the notes in here, and the PMO can also, I guess, Anupreet, this was your power here. We can see it's locked up at the top here that Anupreet can say, yes, I think I want to put some notes for the stakeholders that maybe we should ask some questions about this one. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Again, this is as a part of the best practice. We wanted to ensure that when we are doing projects which takes more than 9 months, 10 months, maybe even 18 months also that I have seen, we want to have better control. We need to have those gateways at every stage, every milestone, so that whenever we are moving from one point to other, we are able to close our previous task. And also, our projects have not just started from the fact that the idea has been onboarded. It is when we are evaluating multiple tools, multiple RFPs are going on. So that pre-implementation projects also that we have run successfully, to be very honest. And I wanted to ensure that we have all stages captured, and this is the outcome of that.
Brilliant. Anu, thank you so much for that bit. So just kind of, eye on the time on this bit. So let's just kind of go back to, whilst clearly we're not going to go through the whole solution today, hopefully we've given some bits here. Again, we've got a YouTube video on sort of PPM solution that we've done, and with the team here. Top 5 features, just pull out and just tell on that bit, and then we need to just help people understand. So how did you go around the adoption phase as well? So top 5 features first.
Absolutely. Smartsheet for us is just, it's an analogy for us to manage project management when we started. And we are doing a fantastic job with that. We have a KPI of 90%. Today, we are hitting more than 95% of success rate in delivering our projects. So yes, one of the key features for which we onboarded success. Budget management is something we have started in the past 1 year. We have started using from a budget management perspective. Also, we have built up some portfolios there, how we can automate it, what workflows can we build. Again, this is the need of the hour to monitor the budgets. Definitely from when we are doing transformational projects, it's very important to have a controlled budget. That also we have started doing. So it's fantastic. Analytics and reporting, I think I don't have to talk about it because the dashboard says it all. It says everything, whatever you need, whether top, middle, ground, it's your go-to tool. Workflow automation, I think, once you get your hands dirty, it's the most easiest thing I have ever used, because why I'm saying it, I'm referring to mine. As you go up the ladder, you feel a little uncomfortable using a lot of technology, but I think this is my go-to tool. I create a lot of workflows. And notification communication, oh my God. The integration that we have done with Office 365, the reminders that we get, because I'm a hardcore minutes of the meeting person, I ensure everything is documented. It is notified on their due dates to individuals, even to me, every day it comes. So that has really, really helped us in streamlining and doing a lot of follow-ups that we used to manually do. So yeah, brilliant.
No, fantastic. And I think, and just one watch out personally for me that I'll say to people is, I think the notifications are fantastic. Always just be aware that when you can use the individual dashboards for people, that they can have their own view of my tasks. Just be aware to not bombard someone. I've seen some organizations do it, that they get, oh, this notification, that notification, and people switch off if they get too many notifications as well. So be mindful of notify, and then give them a tool such as their own personal My Tasks dashboard, which you can see that information in. Brilliant. So Anu, let's just go forwards therefore on this bit. Impact. Just tell us a bit about the impact on that bit.
I think from the impact perspective, we have brought a lot of change. Again, one of my key KPIs was to bring, governance in picture, real-time updates, better control of the projects, and I'm able to do it with this tool very clearly. The most important thing is a clear set of communication, because I'm bringing a lot of teams to collaborate, and now they have understood the power of this tool and they are communicating well. So I think that way I've created a good impact. In line to this, I think Smartsheet started on a very different note in Acuity, but today it has made a very good mark. People can resonate with Smartsheet now, and they are very excited to evaluate more features of Smartsheet also. So yes, another journey.
Brilliant. And I think the other piece was the 90% and then going to 95%. I think you actually kind of, I think at the stage when you're hitting higher than that in terms of the on-time delivery. Fantastic. So just talk to us about the adoption side as well, Anu. So this is one of the questions coming in. How do you get, I mean, I guess, there's the team you're working with. Tell us about adoption on this piece, and how do you get people on board?
Okay, so this is the piece where I would always advise people to work out, think through, because you know your stakeholders, you know whether how adaptable they are they resistant to any change. Change definitely is something that people don't like. There is a sense of fear to them, they are sensitive towards it. But to make them more comfortable, bring in more visibility, send out flyers, do some trainings, create awareness about the tool. So even to an extent, I've sat down with a lot of people on my own one-on-one to tell them, see what it is, see what I am doing, to make them more comfortable. Because if they start resonating with it, I think if you can change one person, and if you can make somebody like Smartsheet, even to 1% also, I would say outside my team, I think I've achieved a lot. So start slow, take one step at a time, try to bring in more visibility, don't impose, give them time to adapt. I think that should be key things when you are doing this.
Brilliant. Thank you. And again, I mean, I'm delighted to see on this bit implementation. So decision making, the highlights from your journey on that bit. And again, thank you, implementation partner. Thank you for kind of highlighting us as well. I mean, hopefully you found it easy. The fact we're talking today, Anupreet, probably is a good sign that we found it quite well to work together.
Absolutely. The whole collaboration has been fantastic. I never felt that I was working in the terminology that we call SI, which is the system integrator. It was more like two teams coming together to build a fantastic solution. And the best part is you were always one call away. And I think some of our pictures shows it all, how we have come so far.
Brilliant. Well, and on that piece, so Anu, you're recently, and I'm conscious of trying to make sure we leave time for some questions as well, though I've been trying to answer questions as we go. But yeah, you just recently were over in Smartsheet Engage in London, which is obviously a massive commitment from you, and the support from your organization and your management to attend is absolutely brilliant. What were the, any particular highlights for you in terms of coming across to here, other than fish and chips and Anupreet, and the rain of London and your Smartsheet umbrella?
I think I feel very elated that I was encouraged to be part of this session. And again, I think I give a thank you to two great leaders in the organization, Sridhar Damala and David Fellows. And from that, my day one was just about going from one kiosk to the other, exploring new solutions from resource management to the sales and marketing to the integration and connectors. There's so much I was just jotting down in my diary. Oh, this is the idea that I want to go back and tell the leadership. So I was full of ideas. The second highlight was to see the fantastic case studies of different customers, how they have adapted, what new they are doing. And we are still a small fish in a big pond, and I really want to grow and expand and bring more unified solutions out of it. So that really inspired me. Third is the introduction of AI. A lot of flexibility in the automation with respect to the dashboard coloring that I got. That really excited me. I have a lot to talk, but these are the three things that come to my mind.
Brilliant. And again, so well, for those who didn't make it there, but Engage in Seattle has just been announced, I believe 7th to 9th of October of this year. And again, we'll head across there just and look forward to, for those who are more Europe based, then we're trusting, looking forward to next year in the UK again. So Anu, thank you so much for that piece. I guess we'll come on to questions and answers in a moment, but we've provided a little template for attendees as well, project health checks. I passionately care about, understanding how you run this bit. So again, after this, we'll communicate to you. We'll send you a little link where you can request to download a little template sets we've got. So in here, just kind of a quick view on this template set. And this is, again, I love being able to sort of switch on and off. But again, you've got ways of seeing what's the project and questions, management clarity, team clarity. It's even got a little, well, this is what the sheet looks like, and you've got questions that you can go into of the team here. So again, a little handy tool that we at Prodactive are providing to you for this bit. Please do get in touch because there's more advanced versions of this that we can provide on that side. But again, having a healthy portfolio of projects is key to you on that side. So that's this which we'll share to people afterwards on the call. Just as I go forwards on stuff, again, we'll come on to Q&A and just go through any more on that in a moment. But please, again, connect to Anupreet on LinkedIn. So Anupreet Malhotra, you'll recognize and see there. Again, everyone's got Smartsheet mostly on the call, so we don't need that bit. And again, please do find our YouTube channel if hopefully a link's been shared on there. One other just quick bit, by the way, is we're actually running a competition at Prodactive. So we're off going to run around a small island called the Isle of Wight, 70 miles this weekend with Phil. And we're also just raising a bit of awareness for a fantastic charity for children who've lost a parent in service in the forces. But again, there's a competition. Go to the web page we've got for this one. Let me just go to, hopefully this is open. The run, it's not. If you go to our run page, you can actually enter our competition, very easy, and you could potentially win 10 hours of our services to support you. So those of you got lots of questions, Viv, and others kind of on that bit, please do get in touch, and you can enter our competition, but quick, because you've got to enter by the 7th of June on that side. So no further ado, any other questions on this piece? So I'm thinking we've answered quite a few live, but let me just have a quick look in terms of other questions there. So, and Fiona, I guess any questions that you would like to particularly ask to Anupreet that you've seen that's come through? So I'm just going to answer whilst, Fiona, maybe if you just help me out with any questions on this side. So Ben Miller, you've integrated with MS Teams, but it requires IT administrators to grant permissions. Is it possible to link the Smartsheets to individual channels? So I think the first bit there is when you set up on that piece, then so one, yes, you always need IT to approve it for Teams, and then two, within that you can get messages to go to individual channels then on that piece. So yes, you can. So I've answered that. Dashboards. How can you use dashboards to check something in the past on that bit? Keep requiring snapshots, backups, and how? So Yanis, I think Anupreet, question for you actually. So do you have stakeholders who want to see historical information on your dashboards? What do you do in that case?
Absolutely. So with the current projects, we always have our repository. We ensure that everything is stored within Smartsheet. But for our past projects, we archive them and we have a workspace created for them, and we can always go back to what has been the project about, to an extent that we always keep the project learnings from our past projects also, that we can go back and refer if we are doing something similar, in the future also. So yes, we always keep them.
And I think, Yanis, what I would say is that different organizations do different things in terms of, so what people can do is you can do a print, a PDF and download and save a copy of that. I know it's a very requested feature from Smartsheet in terms of the ability to press that button. I think, I've heard some interesting things might be in development on that side, but also one of the solutions with the solution which we have, Prodactive, is a RAG history, so you can see information historically because you create an archive sheet. So again, maybe get in touch with that piece to ask us, because we've got a way of building that into our solutions on that side. So other questions. So Richard, kind of licensing required to use this functionality. So I think at Acuity they've got the package called Control Center, which is an advanced application which is required, and so that is provided by the Smartsheet platform. And then these guys have the enterprise licenses, is what Acuity have on that side. So licenses, and then Control Center, because they have that in particular as well. Any other questions that we want to bring out? How to communicate with other stakeholders? Are there how do you communicate with other stakeholders? So are there integrations with email apps and chat apps such as MS Outlook or Google Chat? So Tobias, not directly within Smartsheet. So I think Smartsheet connects directly with one with Teams and two with Slack. Those are the primary items that it can do. There are other integrators, maybe using Zapier or something, when you could actually connect with other items on that side, is what I would suggest on that side. And I'm just looking towards, and it's got a few minutes remaining to go. What's the interface to navigate between the different sheets within a single project? Anu, okay, there's a question for you on this bit. How does your team navigate between all the different sheets?
So this is all designed in the blueprint. It's part of the control center and the blueprint that we design. We capture all the sheets within that, and when it comes to the summary sheet, whether it comes to time sheet, the workflows that we have created, it all comes down to the status report. So these are the builds, the connectors that we do. And so it all depends on your blueprint. Correct, Rick? I think you can also contribute there.
And absolutely. And I think what I'd say is, depending, are you using work apps, which whilst the team at Acuity aren't using work apps at this moment, work apps is a fantastic way of organizing it, but also the work that Smartsheet has been doing to change the layout so that you can see the folder on the side to see what assets are there, so people can navigate to. So again, since we first implemented it, there's lots of advances for what that have come through. But also what we see lots of people do is you have shortcuts. So we include on our dashboards shortcuts to the items, so people can click on the individual items to go to. So that wasn't in the screenshot, but typically we always allow those items so people can get to the items they need to go to on that side. So, and I'm just going to any other questions really that I haven't covered off on that side. And Fiona, Phil, any other questions that we need to check in on? So I think, don't know in terms of any other questions, but Anupreet, we're getting close to the end of the time anyway. So, and fantastic. I mean, I can still see there's 97 people still who've stayed on the webinar to this point, which is absolutely fantastic. Anupreet, you've been very, very generous with your time. Really appreciate you leaning in. And again, there's some wonderful feedback from someone who said, wow. So Mohammed, thank you so much for this. Just Anupreet, he said, amazing effort, amazing work. I'm on a mission to revolutionizing Smartsheet in my company and taking it to the next level. This workflow is really insightful. So Anupreet, thank you on behalf of all the attendees for your input, for sharing, and leaning into this bit and contributing to the community. Thank you. Thank you all for attending. If you want to find out more from either Anupreet or from Prodactive or from Smartsheet, reach out to your account manager, but please reach out to Prodactive. Let us know. We love helping you unlock potential, transform execution. Guys, thank you. And until next time, bye for now.
Thank you all. All the best to everyone.